So welcome everyone. My name is Bree Cummings and I am the president of Runway of Dreams at Kent State University. I'm a senior majoring in fashion design and fashion merchandising. Thank you for joining our panel discussion event with the purpose of raising awareness around disability inclusion in the fashion industry. Runway of Dreams and its clubs work toward a future of inclusion, acceptance, and opportunity in the fashion industry for the community of people with disabilities. And we do this through our campaign for inclusion, adaptive runway shows, and our college clubs. Taylor, you muted.
I that out. Hi, I'm Taylor. I am the vice president of Kent State's Runway of Dreams Club. I'm currently a senior fashion merchandising major, and I have a minor in fashion media. So to start off, we're going to have our amazing panelists all introduce themselves, and we'll start with Mikela.
Hi, my name is Mikela Stephenson. I'm a 25-year-old twin with cerebral palsy. My power chair gives me a bit of independence around the house, and my amazing service dog, Alaska, helps me retrieve items I need. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, but I have been living for the past 7 years on the East Coast. I love New York because it has so much to offer. I graduated 3 years ago from Manhattanville College with a degree in communications and a minor in marketing. Traveling is a top priority if possible. I have dual citizenship, so I have been able to visit and spend time in Italy for extended periods of time. I enjoy fundraising for organizations and causes that are close to my heart, like Runway of Dreams, who advocates for fashion inclusivity, and Canine Companions for Independence that gave me my wonderful service dog, Alaska. They are now also proud sponsors of Runway of Dreams. I like to think that I actually helped them to get there. I joined game management as a model in 2019, just before the start of the pandemic. My first job was to model for a company that made adaptive underwear called Undercare, and it was a blast. I also had the honor to model during New York Fashion Week 2021 with Runway of Dreams for Zappos Adaptive. That was pretty amazing. I was part of a focus group to help develop adaptive products for a famous brand that I cannot mention. Recently, I have been a guest speaker at a conference for social justice and spoke about diversity and inclusion, which is my #1 passion. My goal in life is to make disability normal.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mikela. All right, next up is Derek.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I'll try. My name is Derek, and I am lucky enough to work at Zappos.com and specifically on Zappos Adaptive. For those of you that don't know Zappos Adaptive, it's a curated selection of products that are fashionable and functional and make life easier for people. I have over 15 years experience in the apparel industry. And prior to working on Zappos Adaptive, I led the men's and women's denim and classic team, where I brought my product experience and knowledge to what would become Zappos Adaptive. Today, I have a really big passion for trends and a dedication for inclusivity. And I love curating and styling people like Mikela at Runway of Dreams, New York. And love merchandising that product and really providing people with dressing needs things that will make their life easier.
Awesome. We're happy you're here. Next up is Debra.
Hi, everyone. Super pumped to be here. Thanks so much for the invite, Taylor and Bree. Really appreciate it. My name is Debra Swersky. I am the founder of Stemwear, which is a fashion apparel brand designed to celebrate the differences we choose and adapt to the ones we don't. It's specifically stated as a fashion apparel brand because we want to put fashion first and allow those that use the product to express themselves. So we showcased at the Runway of Dreams this past New York Fashion Week, which was a really exciting time for us. And I guess I should probably say, because this is college here, that this is not my full-time job. I do stemwear as a side gig for myself. I am a full-time employee at a hospital here in Dallas, Texas, but I like to think myself as an entrepreneur, a problem solver, and really interested in making the world a better place. So I started stemwear when I was diagnosed with a condition called primary lymphedema, which is chronic swelling that affects my right leg and my right leg only. And I have to wear a custom compression garment 24/7. So for me, that was not the greatest experience from a fashion standpoint. And so I created stemwear to cover that up and give myself more agency, more choice in what I looked like on a day-to-day basis, which really changed the way that I felt about myself and the way that people treated me outside in the real world. So like Mikela was saying, normalizing a disability is pretty high on my list of things to do in life. I think the question was who you are, what you do, and what you love. I love my husband and my son. So I met him when, quote unquote, I was your age. And I've got a 4-year-old, which is pretty cool. And I love living an active life, thriving, and trying not to let my disability stop me from doing anything I want to do. So that's who I am.
Gorgeous. Thank you. All right, Tracy.
Everyone, I'm Tracy Volbrecht. I am currently an adaptive and universal designer and consultant, and I am also an alumni of Kent State. At Kent, I minored in fashion design with the major in entrepreneurship, and I was lucky enough during my time at Kent to actually be able to study adaptive design and do a big research project, as well as kind of tie that into my BFA collection for fashion design major. So that was kind of a partnership between the fashion school and the honors college. So if you have that opportunity, I would highly recommend. It was really cool to be able to focus and spend about 2 years on something that was that I was really passionate about. After graduating, I have worked both on men's and women's wear at some startups, as well as some corporate companies. And then actually in the height of the pandemic, I was asked to help launch 2 adaptive brands. So I served as the founding designer for 2 brands at Juniper Unlimited. There was an amazing experience to really help create something from the ground up, where we, had no customer data, no idea of who we were even really going to be able to capture with our online platform. So that was a really amazing experience. And then since then, I've been able to transition that experience where I was, kind of creating something from scratch in order to help brands and organizations and some universities as well to start getting into adaptive design, learning what it is, what universal design is, and really kind of start to make a change. Like the other panelists said, we're all working together to make the fashion industry and the world as a whole a little bit more inclusive. And then in the terms of what I love, my time at Kent, both studying abroad in Paris and Florence, really sparked a big passion for travel for me. So that's my little side hustle, is doing a lot of traveling and helping other people travel as well. So if you have any travel questions on the side, you can ask me afterwards.
Perfect. Thank you for that. All right. Thank you for sharing about yourselves, and thanks to everyone participating. Before we get started, I want to let the audience know if you're joining us via Zoom, you can send questions in the chat, or if you're in person, we're just going to wait to ask those questions until the end. So to get started, our first question is for Mikela. As a model with experience at New York Fashion Week, I figure you have a sense of fashion and a style of your own. Do you mind telling us a bit about your style and why you think adaptive fashion is important?
To be part of a runway show, for someone like me, is a dream come true. To be able to show the world that even someone with a visible disability gets to model clothing and accessories like supermodels is a great feeling. I love wearing cute dresses that are fashionable with high heels. However, since those are not practical for me, I wear boots or sneakers with higher heels. I love accessories like scarves and hats and jewelry that make me look pretty. I got to represent the disabled community on the runway that has always been for a very small niche of people. Beautiful women, tall, skinny, and able-bodied. Adaptive fashion is important because it allows people with challenges to look like everyone else and to be true to their own style. Thanks to Mindy, who was changing that and started it all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Our second question is for Derek. So you mentioned you would work with Zappos Adaptive from the beginning. So you've been able to see various brands and companies completely transform. How would you say adaptive fashion has changed in the past few years?
I think you know, and this kind of goes back to what we've heard from Tracy and Debra and Mikela. You know, when we started Zappos Adaptive, like looking at Zappos Adaptive and trying to determine like how can we do this? How can we, you know, bring some of this product to our website and curate it in a way? There wasn't a lot of fashionable product. So I think one thing that has been a big change is that our products are more fashionable now. And that concept of universal design, a lot of folks are using that, not because they are designing specifically for people with dressing needs, but this is just easier for anybody to get on. So that kind of is transferring that what we saw originally in the adaptive space. Now it's becoming a little bit more mainstream. So I love seeing that a lot of the product out there is becoming a lot more fashionable. A lot more people want to wear it. They want to feel great and they want to be independent and, you know, have their own sense of style. And early on, that wasn't necessarily the case. So seeing that things are more fashionable, that the product offerings have expanded. I mean, when we first started, I was calling all kinds of people to see if they had, you know, hey, do you want to sell us? Hey, do you want to? And it really wasn't anything that a lot of folks could do. They weren't at the stage at that point. So not only being able to see the change and to see some of this product become more fashionable, but one thing that I have loved to do and a change that I've liked is just kind of showing some of the smaller brands or some of the brands like, hey, you know, this is what you need to do to work with like a big box, right? This is the type of, you know, some of the logistical things that you need to do. And early on, I wasn't really sure too, like how they could maneuver. But that's another thing that I think has been really, really been awesome and something that I'm proud of is kind of educating some of those brands on, hey, if you work with us in this respect, you can work with anybody. And really just trying to help the people be successful, regardless if we're going to be selling them or not. You know, we just want the people, you know, anybody that's a part of this movement to do their best, and however we can help on our side, we're going to. So, yeah.
Well, it's great to hear the industry is evolving. So thank you. We have a look into the past and the present of adaptive fashion, but we need a little bit of an idea about the future. So Tracy, you have several years of experience working with various adaptive brands and organizations to help make adaptive clothing more mainstream and readily available, like Derek was saying. What do you see happening with adaptive fashion in the next 10 years and why?
Thanks, Taylor. I also will touch a little bit like Derek did on the past. So if we're looking 10 years in the future, let's also kind of look 10 years in the 10 years in the past. So back to like 2012, let's say. Really in 2012, the only real brands doing adaptive was a brand called Is Adaptive. They're kind of one of the first pioneers. They're a Canadian brand that Derek and I love. We've been on some other panels with them as well. And then shortly after that, Magna Ready was launched. Then we get Runway of Dreams, Zappos Adaptive, as Derek mentioned, Tommy Hilfiger, and a host of other small brands. And that was kind of all around 2016 or so. So if you think about it, we've made a ton of progress in just the past 6 years. So kind of looking 10 years out, I'm really hoping that we'll be able to, all of us, regardless of disability or you know what your dressing challenges may be or may not be, we'll be able to walk into big name stores, department stores, and then, you know, be able to see adaptive alongside petites plus big and tall. So, you know, you'll be able to get your group of friends together and go to the store, and everyone will go to their section of the store and be able to shop based on their needs. And it'll all be there and it'll all be fashionable. And of course, there'll be the basics, right? We all love to lounge around the house in comfy sweats, but there'll also be the, you know, super stylish pieces that are then offered, like I was saying, in adaptive, petites, plus, Missy, junior, big and tall, all of that. And then I'll even go a little further out, 10 years out from there. So looking 20 years into the future, I'm actually hoping then we won't see any of that. So 20 years out in the future, you won't go into a store and there won't be adaptive, there won't be petite, there won't be plus. It won't be divided like that. From there, I'm hoping that it'll be universally designed. So that'll be everything offered in a full range. So it won't be, segmented based on need or size. It'll really just be offered in a full range of sizes, of body types, of abilities. And so that would be my look towards the future. And if I'm being really optimistic at that point in 20 years, I will have put myself and potentially everyone here on the panel, so don't hate me, but we might have put ourselves out of jobs by then, because everyone will be able to just shop based on their needs and it'll be there and easily accessible to all. So that's what I'm hoping for 10 and 20 years out from now.
Perfect. We have high hopes. All right. Thank you for that. All right, Debra, you're next. So you created your brand Stemwear after being diagnosed with lymphedema. You invented a new fashion category after you saw the need for it in the apparel space. Do you think all brands, including designers, should have adaptive options?
This is a really great question, Taylor. And as Tracy was explaining what 20 years from now is going to look like, I realized that I'm wearing a 20-year from now hat when I thought of the question. So fashion is a form of self-expression. And I think that that should be the primary goal when we're talking about fashion and designers and brands and things like that. But there needs to be a thought in that for adaptation. And so if it's fashionable and it has the adaptive option, then it just should be something that people wear and enjoy and find that self-expression for them. But the focus shouldn't necessarily be on adaptive clothing first, because then you're potentially ignoring the fashionable side, and we want to be able to open it up to as many people as possible and bring as many people into that fold as possible. So I don't know that there should necessarily be an adaptive option, but as I'm listening to Tracy speaking, I think I'm wearing the 20-year from now hat. So I'm just being super optimistic. We're going to get there like next year, and this question just won't even be a thing.
All right, fabulous. Well, thank you so much. All right, starting from the top, Mikela, we have talked a lot about adaptive fashion this evening, but in your opinion, what makes something truly adaptive?
First of all, that's a very good question. Adaptive can mean different things. First of all, it's easier to put on, whether it is for the person who wears the clothing or for the caregiver who helps that person get dressed. Adaptive means accessible even financially, because expensive clothing are inaccessible, especially for people with disabilities or challenges, like designer dresses. That's because everything made for people with disabilities is more expensive, like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, or beach chairs, and other devices needed for every day. Clothing is an everyday necessity, and I think it should not be more expensive for people who already have challenges.
Fabulous. I agree 100%. All right, Derek, we touched on how you work with many adaptive brands previously. So what is your favorite part about working with adaptive fashion?
Great question. Thanks so much, Taylor. One of the biggest things that I'm excited about in working in this space is just that excitement that someone gets when they finally have a product that works for them. I don't know if any of you, Debra, maybe Mikela, you've experienced this, and Tracy, you've seen it. But one thing that really energizes me and really makes me realize that this is, what we should be doing is when someone is able to tie or put their shoes on for the first time, because we have shoes that don't have regular laces like we all wear. Little things that have changed someone's life, and seeing that in person as they're putting on the product is something that I love. Finding that product for a person's dressing need and then being able to work with them, like at Runway of Dreams, to build that awareness around the product and educate the people that are wearing it, like, hey, there is a brand that can do this, and it is works for your dressing need. And that excitement is just, it's something that I wish everybody can experience that's in the merchandising business. So that's one thing that I really, really love, is that excitement. But I kind of mentioned it before, but it's really around, what I really love too is connecting the community with the brands and the products, so that the brands can make adjustments to their products specific to whatever a person needs. And we like to hold focus groups with these bigger brands to try to get them on this as well. So if we, talk to brand X, we're going to bring in people from the community and see the excitement on the brands' faces as they're getting this feedback, and the designers are taking X-Acto knives and they're cutting things, and they're bringing scissors and they're doing this so that they can adapt these products to make it so that everybody can wear them. That also is just, it's so awesome to be able to do that. And then the thing about that as well that I think is awesome that we get to do is educating the brands. I think that we've been talking, oh, it's taken this long. Oh, we've made a lot of progress in 6 years, but I think we can make more if we start educating brands and designers and whoever out there that, slight modifications to something that we all know can make it that much easier for everybody to put on. So just really kind of letting everybody know that's on the design side or the sales side, that, hey, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you'll need to do is just maybe a couple modifications to this, and guess how many more people can wear that product now. And I think that's really exciting too, because it's just that, I love seeing people's facial expressions. So when, that light clicks on for people, oh, like that's really cool as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the excitement is definitely contagious. So, all right, thank you for that. Debra and Tracy, you both have different experiences when it comes to inclusive fashion, and we have many fashion and design students with us this evening. What advice would you give to a designer who is wanting to focus on adaptive fashion? And Debra, we'll start with you.
So advice that I give to a designer here is, I guess, more of a marketing tip than a design tip, but really focus on the person that you're trying to speak with, have purchased the product, live with that product. And I think it goes back to what Derek was just saying about it's just a couple of tweaks. It's just a few little things. It's just looking at the product that you're looking to sell from a fashion standpoint and saying, how can I make this work for whoever you're trying to speak with, whether that's a Mikela or another person. What is the disability that you're solving for? And I think that when you can look at that and really step back from it and say, it's just a couple tweaks, it's just a thing here and there, then you've put the fashion first and you've done the adaptive piece second. And then you've also opened it up to a wider audience. So you've taken the fashion piece and said, here's this great top, here's this great skirt, here's these great shoes, here's this great belt, scarf, hat, piece of jewelry, whatever it is. And you've said, this is something that really does well with the broader market, but it also will now work for someone who could not access that previously. And I think that that's really important when you start with the small niche person and then you open it up to the wider person, but you would have started with something that was already quite positive in the first place.
Fabulous advice. Tracy, do you have anything to follow up with?
Yeah, I have kind of two parallel pieces of advice. The first one is actually quite similar to what Debra was saying. So I think it shows, you can take two different paths and end up with a similar answer. So like Debra was saying, this is the same advice that I give to brands and universities and organizations that I work with, is really bringing the right people to the table, whether you're developing an adaptive line or just doing research on adaptive fashion. You really have to interact with and learn with the people you're looking to serve. So a common saying in the disability community is not about us without us. And I personally take that really to heart in all of the brands I work with. I make sure to bring together the brands, so including the brands that I help launch, as well as the ones I consult for now, as well as active voices in the disability community, so that there's that partnership, so that the brands are able to really work with the people that they are looking to create product for, so that adaptive fashion is created with people with disabilities, not just for people with disabilities. So I'd say Debra and I are for sure aligned on that first one. And then I will shed a little light Kent specific, since I was at Kent a few years back. So I'd say for right now, really take advantage of the resources at your disposal. Whether it's, looking into research or, doing a project focused on adaptive design, whether it's a design project or a merchandising project, or, any events that might be happening on campus, including obviously Runway of Dreams, as well as, any local type of events that you can participate in, especially because when you do get into the industry, as everyone here can attest to, when you're in the industry and, you're working a job that is, your day to day. There's still emails to be answered. There's still production calendars to follow. There's still meetings to attend. So all of those things really can put a little bit of a damper on that creative spirit or the time you have to research and innovate and come up with new ideas, because you are working towards a calendar. If you've developed, and I'm sure Debra can talk about this on the small business scale, as well as I could Derek can talk on the large business scale, and everywhere in between. If you're looking to develop, let's say, an adaptive top, when does the factory need the order by? Okay, so then you have to look back from there, and you're saying, okay, I have to get the tech pack sent out by this date, and then we have to do X amount of fittings with people with disabilities, and then they have to have time to give feedback, and all of those little elements kind of have to work together. So you're really kind of on a little bit of a crunch line. So while you're at Kent, really take advantage of the fact that you're not on a sales and production calendar, that you have, the time and resources at your disposal, and often resources that are potentially a little cheaper and or free. I was a big fan of the Textile Lab when I was at Kent, so highly recommend that as well. So yeah, that's my twofold answer there.
Well, thank you. We are listening. So the next question is for everybody. We mentioned earlier how Runway of Dreams empowers people with disabilities to have confidence and self-expression through fashion and beauty inclusion. Now we want to know, why is Runway of Dreams important to each of you? So we'll start with Mikela again.
Runway of Dreams is extremely important because it's making a difference in the fashion industry, and it's showing the beauty within a group of people who have been neglected for far too long. It helps me to feel included in the fashion world. It makes me feel like a normal person with goals and dreams that are actually achievable. It makes me feel more confident in myself, and it gives me a voice that is heard and valued. Because of Runway of Dreams, I am pursuing my dream to become a motivational speaker and to model to inspire others. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Derek.
Runway of Dreams. I think the question was, why is Runway of Dreams important to me, correct? I missed that question on the pre, so sorry. But yeah, Runway of Dreams is super, super important because it has allowed us at Zappos to really learn from the community as to what it is that they want. Everybody within the disability community wants to wear boots like everyone else. Everybody wants this. So, having the opportunity to work directly with the community, get that authentic feedback to specifically what it is from a fashion standpoint they want, what it is from a technical product like a waterproof boot or a training shoe, whatever that is, just being able to be hands-on with the community, get that authentic feedback, and then be able to turn that around and action on it has been so rewarding. I've also met just so many great friends and colleagues that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet. And I've kind of came into my own styling people, specifically, for Runway of Dreams, whether it's, at our New York Fashion Week show that they do, or even, we were lucky enough to have a show in Vegas where we invited all of our big brands to come and watch so that they could see that, hey, maybe we could do something too. And it turned into this great opportunity for not only Zappos, but for the community, because we had brands step up and say, you know what? we want to do something. And that's, a testament to this great partnership we have with Runway of Dreams. So thanks to everybody that works on the Runway of Dreams team. I don't know if Dawn's here, and Mindy and everybody behind the scenes, but also I'll just say specifically about the College Club. And Tracy, you kind of touched on this, all of the folks that are in school that are a part of this club now, what I hope that you all get out of this is that, the seed is planted so that as you get into the workforce, as you start, going after your career, you're on the forefront of whatever major, whatever, industry you're going to be in. And that, you remember, I was in Runway of Dreams College Club, and now I'm going to make, I'm a designer, tech designer for websites. I'm going to make sure that the website's accessible, whether you're in a design respect or not, just always keeping that in mind, and always, trying to be as equitable as possible in your careers moving forward.
Thank you for that. Very informational. All right, let's do Tracy.
Eric didn't even know what the question was, and he stole my answer. No, but like Derek said, I think, for me personally, Runway of Dreams is kind of a twofold. Number one being the exposure, really just raising exposure to people with disabilities wanting fashion that's fashion first, and that works for them and is functional, and then also that then brands see it, right? And other brands that aren't currently in adaptive are seeing Zappos and Target and Tommy Hilfiger and Kohl's out there doing it, and they're saying, oh shoot, we got to get into this too. We have to get involved. We have to even attend, right? Because that could be a first step, is that a brand just goes to the show or helps sponsor the show, so then they can get their foot in the door. So I feel like Runway of Dreams is a great opportunity for that. And then the second one being that representation really matters, and getting people involved then does keep it in mind that this is something that we're all working towards in the future, and then it starts to be maybe on the back burner of your mind, and you're bringing that experience to everything that you do. And then, like Derek said as well, you meet some really great people. I think we all wouldn't be here in this virtual and physical room without Runway of Dreams. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, last but not least, Debra.
So I'm gonna continue to ride the Derek train on this one and pull back an answer that you gave a couple of minutes ago. You said that when you find an item that works for you, it's really a game-changing experience on the merchandising side. As a designer, I guess, and designing the product, when I put Stemwear on for the first time, it was truly a life-changing experience. I went from feeling just horrible about myself, my body, the way that I looked, the way that I felt. And when I covered it up and made it look pretty, made it look like something that I had chosen, that I had created an outfit out of it, I felt like $1 million. I felt like the fashion model of, whatever dressing room I was in at the time. And it was really a night and day experience for me. And so what Runway of Dreams means to me and why it's so important is because it promotes that self-expression through fashion to people who don't necessarily have the option for that self-expression through fashion. And it's giving that same basic right back to them in a way that they can truly embrace, and they feel included and accepted and appreciated. And also like they have a choice in that matter, and that they feel great walking out of the house in the morning, or rolling out of the house in the morning, or crutching out of the house in the morning, however they're going to get there. But they feel like $1 million. And that is truly a life-changing experience. And promoting that and advocating for that in the fashion industry is just so super important. And finding this organization and becoming a part of it, it's really been a really amazing opportunity.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so happy that Runway of Dreams can be such a positive platform for everybody and just bring all these great things and great people together. All right, so thank you, everyone. We are now going to take questions. If anyone has any, feel free to type them, come down and ask them if you're in the auditorium, and I will be here and the panelists will answer.
Did we do that well?
Yeah.
Oh, we might have answered all the questions. I mean, you guys did very well.
I have a question. It's for Debra. Debra, what was it like starting up Stemwear and that process of like creating a brand that was just focused on adaptive wear?
Yeah, so I did my business schooling at a college in the Northeast called Babson College. It's more about the entrepreneurial experience than it is about the fashion. So when I started Stemwear, I did the research looking for the product online, because had the product existed, I just would have purchased it. I probably would not have started the company. But given everything that I learned at Babson, if the product didn't exist and I knew that I needed something, then it was on me to create it. And so really dove deep into just the internet, trying to find one-legged leggings or a sleeve with a pattern or something that would be more fashion oriented than a black or white option. And wasn't really coming up with much. And so when I created Stemwear, the focus for me was really on the fashion piece and making something that was fun and interesting, much like you'd find an asymmetrical top, one that's like, you know, the one shoulder, long sleeve, something that exists in the world already that people wear and they like and they appreciate, but that was now for legs. And I never found anything that was specific for legs or leggings, but I knew that patterned leggings were a thing. And so getting a patterned legging, cutting a leg off and having people look at me like I made a fashion statement, like an asymmetrical top. And then I knew that that was now something that was seen as, you know, a little bit different, but still fun and interesting, and really made all the more difference to me. And so the building of the brand was, how do I talk about how it came to be while also still focusing on the fashion piece of it? How do I normalize the disability? How do I celebrate the difference between my right and left legs so that I could go out into the world and not feel like my body is imperfect or I don't feel as good about myself as other people feel about themselves? I wanted to just be me and be normal. And tried to really infuse that into the brand and tried to really get that message out into the world that made me feel like I was doing something for everyone else, and helping them along their journeys with the diagnosis or their disability. And yeah, I knew that it wasn't just for me. I knew that it was going to be for way more people. And an organization like Runway of Dreams has really exposed it to so many more people, because it's not just people with lymphedema, it's, you know, amputees, people with spinal bifida, it's, you know, anyone who needs to cover up or expose something else, so that they're more comfortable in their day-to-day life. And I've just been totally overwhelmed with the amount of people or the number of people that have really taken to something like this. So I try and focus on the fashion piece because that's what I think is necessary in this type of brand. But there is there was a reason for the start. So when I look at other people who are starting, you know, one-legged legging companies, which there are those people and I'm super excited about them, but I have to say, like, well, why did you start that? That's super interesting, but I want to know, what's your story? And it's okay if they don't have one, because it really is a fashion statement, and that's all the better.
Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Mikela, I know you saw the question in the chat, which is, now that you've done Runway of Dreams, what was it like when you were there?
Well, first of all, it was amazing and beautiful because they did all of my hair, all my makeup, and they made me feel like I was proud to be a normal model like everyone else. So, and it was a very long day, 12 hours, but it was fun. And it made me feel so special and emotional.
Oh, well, I'm glad it was such a good time. I know Riley is part of our club. She was in our Kent State fashion show last year that we had for our club. All right, we also have another question, and I believe this is for all of you. Is there a certain brand you all would like to see be adaptive?
Ooh, I can start. So I'm not going to name a specific brand, but I will kind of name a category. I would really love, and this is a personal professional goal for myself as well, as I would really love to see the outdoor apparel industry get more into adaptive fashion, especially because they have a lot of things that are already pretty functional. For example, the hiking pants that zip up into shorts, like that's great for someone who needs to access a prosthetic leg or a catheter bag, or even just adjust a leg brace, like anything like that. So it's already kind of there. And I think the outdoor apparel industry also has some great connections to world-class athletes that are in the Paralympics or various different sports that I could name them all. They're already working with those athletes, so get together, do some adaptive design, or even maybe market it a little bit more towards the non-world class athletes, for the regular people who just like to go for a run or a walk or a hike, and aren't a professional athlete winning gold medals, that kind of thing. So that's my answer. There's a group of people, the outdoor apparel.
Very interesting. Very good answer. All right, who is next? Anyone?
I
can
can.
say-
Oh, go ahead,
oh.
Debra. You first.
I was gonna say, for it's not necessarily a certain brand, but the same thing like Tracy. I'd like to see the athleisure world. So anything that's like an athletic brand that also is more style oriented. They just make comfy clothing, and that same comfy style should be translated. And I don't necessarily know how it works, but I would look to someone like Tracy to help with that. But I think that the same comfy style, comfy clothes, comfy fabrics, but also in the same sweat wicking type stuff, that would be really, really good to see. And also I think that would expose a lot more people to a different style, because it would be in a fashionable sense, but also with the adaptation to it.
100%. And then I know, Derek, you had an answer as well.
Yeah, those are great. Like both of those are awesome. And I think that, especially on the outdoor side, like they have, certain brands sponsor this, Paralympic skier, and people are like, well, where can I get that same product? And like, oh, sorry, they special made this for this world-class winter Paralympian. So sorry, so I think that's a really great category. And obviously athleisure, because I think now that is an accepted style that you can wear out, right? Whether you're going to your yoga class or you're going to exercise, or you just want to be comfy when you're, running errands with your kids or whatever it is. I think that's a great opportunity as well, because, there's a lot more, different techniques with respect to the fabrics that people are using now. There's a lot more opportunities to put in, they're like, let's talk about some of those athleisure brands where you have a pocket that is, specifically somewhere that would work great for someone that may use a wheelchair, but they didn't design it for that. They just did it so that you, as you're running your errands, can access your cell phone easily. So I think just kind of making it a little bit more mainstream in those categories would be great. I'm a denim guy. That's what I did for a very, very long time. And we only have a couple brands that have really stepped up to make their product more accessible. And I'd love to see more people get behind it. Maybe put less rivets on the backside sometimes, or, the pin tucking if you don't need to make it so that it's going to hurt someone. So I think that there's opportunity within the denim world as well to make things more accessible and make it so that people can wear what everybody's wearing. Everybody likes to wear jeans. So
What I would like to see is more fancy shoes available. I would like to wear fancier shoes that are more adaptive with my cute dresses, instead of sneakers all the time.
Definitely. All right. So thank you everyone for answering. Fabulous answers. I can't wait to see all of these categories evolve in the industry. I believe that's all the questions we had. Bree, I know you wanted to say a few words.
Yeah, what an incredible evening. I want to express all the gratitude in the world to our panelists for sharing their stories and pearls of wisdom with us. We also want to thank all of our guests for joining us this evening. We understand that for some of you, this is your first introduction to disability inclusivity, and we hope it's not your last. Thanks, Taylor.
Oh, no problem. So on behalf of the exec board, I want to thank Dawn and Janine for their leadership and assistance. We could not have done this without either of you, and everyone at the Runway of Dreams Foundation. We wish everyone who joined us tonight the best of luck and hope you consider being a part of the fashion inclusion movement. Don't forget to follow us on Runway or on Instagram at Runway of Dreams, and then KSU Runway of Dreams for the college club. And thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.